Hi everyone. Well, today we are going to talk about how to solve for systems of linear equations using the graphing technique. Graphing is something we have been doing for quite a while. We just got done doing some graphing in our detention buyout plan activity. So this should be review, nothing too difficult, but some of this might require a little bit more work, especially with the rewriting part. So first of all, we're going to start with this graphic organizer for your notes. And we're going to, step one says look at the equations. So our first equation, I'm going to put in here, is negative 3x plus 4y equals 24. And then the other equation we're going to look at is y equals 4x minus 7. So the first thing we have to do when we see these two equations is we need to ask ourselves, are they both in y equals mx plus b form? Why do they have to be in y equals mx plus b form or slope-intercept form? Is because we have to graph them. If you graph them, they have to have slope and y-intercept. So when I look at these two equations, I look at this first equation, and this is not slope-intercept form. This is standard form. So therefore, the answer for this equation is no. So what does that mean? What do we have to do with this equation? We have to rewrite the equation. Rewrite it so it is in that form. So let's go ahead and tackle that part of the problem and do it right away. So I'm going to recopy my problem. Negative 3x plus 4y equals 24. Now you have two options to solve this problem. I like to do the box method. That was the most recent method that I was teaching you. If you just want to do the undo, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other, and that works for you, you go for it. So with the box method, because we want y equals, so I want the y's on one side of the equation, I want the x's on the other side, and I want my numbers. Y equals mx plus b. So there's my boxes. And now all I really going to do is going to start matching. So negative 3x has to go into the x box. So when you cross the line, you flip the sign. So this negative 3x is going to be a positive 3x. 4y is just going to go down into the 4y box. And 24 is just going to go with the number. And I always make sure the sign goes with, so I know exactly if I'm dealing with positive or negative numbers. Now the y is still not by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by 4. So now I'm left with the equation y equals 3/4 x plus 6. There's my equation written in slope-intercept form. My slope is 3/4, up 3/4, and my y-intercept, my starting point, is going to be positive 6. This is the information that I'm going to use that's going to go to this next box to help me graph. So let's go ahead, continue, and let's graph this equation. So I am going to start at the y-intercept, which is 6. Here's my y-axis. Find the 6 right there, and I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3, over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can tell I can't go up any further, so I'm going to go in reverse to get my third point. So instead of going up, I'm going to go down. 1, 2, 3. And instead of over to the right, I'm going to go back to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are my 3 points. Grab your trusty ruler. This is where the ruler is really important and straight lines are important. Without the straight lines, it's very easy to miss the POI, the point of intersection, and end up with the wrong answer. So line up your lines. Draw your line all the way through your graph. Arrows on the ends. Okay, first one's done. Now let's go back up to the top. And here is my next equation. And as I notice, this equation is written in y equals mx plus b form. So this one is going to go this way. That's my arrow. So the answer is yes. So because this answer is yes, I can identify my slope as 4/1. I can identify my y-intercept as -7. Now that I have that information, I can graph immediately. So I am going to start at -7 down here, and I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1 to get my third point. Grab your ruler, line it up the best you can. There we go. And draw your line, draw your arrows, and there we go. So now you have just graphed your two linear equations on the same plane. So the next thing we're going to look at is we are going to look at where they intersect, because that would be the solution. So right here is where our POI is, point of intersection, which is our solution. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my answer is 4, 9, and that's it. 4, 9 is the location of the point of intersection, which is the answer to my problem. So here it is, that vocabulary I just used, POI, P-O-I, point of intersection. And just what does that mean? It means that that point is a solution to both of those equations. Now this fourth step is a step that you could use to double check to make sure that your answers are correct. So we're going to start with going into the next step. This does take a little bit of time, but it's definitely worth it if you want to make sure you get the right answer. So I'm going to write that first equation first. So what I'm going to do is, in place of the x, I'm going to write my number 4. This is my x, this is my y. So I'm going to put my 4 in, and then plus 4, and I'm going to multiply this by my y, which is 9. And if I do this all correctly, this should equal 24. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve that. -3 times 4 is -12. And 4 times 9 is 36. And if I simplify, -12 plus 36, sure enough, that gives me 24. Do both sides equal each other? Yes, it does. So that point is a solution to this problem. Let's make sure that our other point does the exact same thing. So y equals 4x minus 7. In place of the y, I'm going to put the 9. 9 times 4. In place of the x, I'm going to put the 4, taking this point again, and then minus 7. Do the math. 9 equals 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 minus 7 does equal 9. Solution check. Both of these work out. It does take a little time to check, but sometimes it's definitely worth it. You put a lot of work into that problem. You want to make sure that you did it correctly, especially because you are drawing lines and it's really easy to be off just a little bit and it could throw everything off. So double checking is never a bad idea. And my solution is 4, 9. Again, when you do your practice, this last step is completely optional. And this might be a step that you could do in your head instead of needing to write it all out. But like I said, it's always good to be able to double check your work. All right, so what you're going to be doing next is you are going to hop on and you're going to have several different problems to work on with graphing. The whole front page, if you notice, looking at all the equations, they are all in slope-intercept form. When you get to the back side, you're going to end up with problems that you might have to do some rewriting. All right, so you can go ahead and get started, and then when you're done, come see me, and we'll see if you're on the right track, and we'll move you on to substitution. See you later.